Hello, experts. My name is A. Gudo, the Transparency Teacher. And the question that is posed today on this Transparency Tuesday is, what is narcissistic abuse? Verbal Injury Edition. Who is this video for? Adult survivors of child abuse and or domestic violence survivors. These are who I call experts of their experience, because a lot of survivors are told, it wasn't that bad, or that person would never do that. Just get over it. But we know the truth. And my page is a safe place to own your experiences and be validated. Comments and questions are always welcome on my page. This page is also for people that believe they or someone they love is in a toxic relationship. This live is also for inquirers that want to know about the progression of abuse and why victims stay. If you feel unsafe, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline now at 1-800-799-7233 or chat with a live person on www.thehotline.org. Now, the resources I use for this video is psychologytoday.com and legaldictionary.net. Now, the purpose for this audio live is to educate and prevent potential future abusive relationships, to create validation in your healing process so you know you're not alone, to define verbal abuse, explain the diverse forms of verbal injury and or abuse with examples, also the effects of verbal abuse and or injury. Now, per Psychology Today, the hallmarks of narcissistic personality disorder are grandiosity, a lack of empathy for other people, and a need for admiration. People with this condition are frequently described as arrogant, self-centered, manipulative, and demanding. Now, the narcissistic abuser could use a mixture of all of these tactics to put you in a hold under their control. Now, this is emotional, verbal, mental, physical, financial, spiritual, or sexual abuse. Now, we are speaking about verbal abuse today, this tactic that they use. And these are different forms of verbal abuse, so feel free to write these down. Accusing, blaming, name calling, ordering the victim around, judging, criticizing, abusive anger, discounting, or minimizing the victim's experiences, and threatening. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of practicing verbal abuse. Now, they may use insulting comments about a particular gender, career, religion, etc., which the victim may belong. So the victim may say, "Work was so tiring today." And the abuser may reply, "You think you're tired? You would never survive a second in my career. Women are so weak." So these are the little pebbles and the little seeds they put in your head to doubt yourself, to dwindle your confidence. So this is kind of a clue as to why people stay, because this is over time. Now, insulting comments about the victim's ideas, behaviors, and or beliefs. So, for example, a victim may have a beautiful, friendly personality, but the abuser will say, "Do you have to say hi to everybody? That's annoying." So now at this point, the victim is like, "Oh my gosh, am I annoying? Am I too much? Like, I never heard that before, but I mean, he's probably telling me this because he loves me and he wants the best for me." So at this time, they're taking away who you are to form you into what they want you to become. Or vice versa. You're a quiet person and they say, "Why are you so quiet? People think you're conceited." So you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not conceited. I don't want people to feel like that." So you'll put yourself in awkward situations. You'll probably be louder than you usually are because you want everybody to know that you're not conceited and that you're a people person, because inside you are this loving person, but you're just a one-on-one. It takes you a little more time to open up, and they know that. But they're projecting their negativity on you. Now, they will have insulting comments about people or places that are dear to the victim. Excuse me. Victim may say, "I can't wait to see my grandmother." And the abuser may reply, "I don't know why. She can't see you anyway. And isn't she crazy?" And this is right after you confided in them that your grandmother was blind and has dementia. So they're using that pain and that illness to mess up that relationship between your grandmother. So you'll stay with them. So you see that movie with them or just sit in the house with them, because to them, they're more important than anything you have to do. Now, for example, having a parent that's an abuser, it would be, "You're not going to Danielle's house. She's trailer trash and our family won't be associated with that." And then the little child may say, "But she's my best friend." And then the parent that's the abuser would say, "So you want to be trash too?" So at this point, the baby's is like, "Oh my gosh, like, I don't want to be trash. I want my mom to love me. But I do love my friend Danielle, and she's always been nice to me. But then my mom, she knows something that I don't know because I'm little, and my mom knows everything. And this is who I look up to." And that's how that programming starts. And that's how, when you get older and you become an adult in abusive relationships where you're like, that behavior you being putting down by your partner of saying, "Oh, I don't think you should be hanging around with Sally. She's promiscuous." And you know what they say, birds of a feather flock together. That's following you through adulthood. And that's why it's so important for us as adult survivors of childhood abuse or domestic violence to know the signs. That's why I'm kind of giving you all conversations and examples of what goes on. Now, another example would be talking down to the victim or treating the victim as though she is stupid. And this is he or she, because abuse can happen to both genders. Now, victim could say, "I wash the dishes for you." And the abuser will reply, "It doesn't take a rocket scientist to wash the dishes." So now you're thinking you're doing something. You think they're going to be happy because you took a load off their shoulders, because you would be happy that somebody took a load off yours, or taking it all the way left and validating you. They were not thankful. It actually got hostile when you're trying to do something nice, so you really don't know what to do, And that's where that people pleasing starts. Okay? That's where that starts. Now, another one example is arguing that the victim is too sensitive if the victim tells the abuser that his or her remarks or actions are demeaning or abusive. So, for example, the abuser say, "Oh, you're getting really fat." And the victim would say, "I'm pregnant, the baby's growing, babe. Remember what the doctor said?" And any normal person would be like, she's pregnant, so she's going to get bigger. And usually guys would say, "Thank you so much for carrying my baby and you're beautiful." But an abusive man, not only will he say you're getting really fat, he would say, "Oh, you see Jennifer Lopez, you see Beyonce, they look gorgeous compared to you. I don't know what you're doing wrong." So now you're like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? Who am I? How can I be more beautiful? Let me look at all these celebrities to see who I am." Right? And so at the end of all this, when you're in pain, you're like, "Oh, but I'm just growing. This is what the doctors said. And they said I'd be growing at a rapid rate because of the pregnancy." And then the abuser will reply, "No remorse." Excuse me. "You can't take a joke. You are so sensitive." Okay. So now you're like, I didn't get an apology. And I still didn't get that validation that I was beautiful. So now I'm too sensitive and I'm fat. But then, then you're like, "Oh, maybe he was just playing." But then it becomes a pattern. So what I would encourage young ladies or men to do with their partner, to write down all these times. Because if this is happening in a pattern, you want to look at this of, okay, this is abusive. This is an abusive, toxic person. Because you don't want to go to the next level of this. Trust me. Okay? So now, in conjunction with emotional effects, verbal abuse can have physical and psychological effects on its victims. As victims, we have a habit of keeping our emotions inside rather than expressing them because we fear more abuse, which is so true. Totally relate. It is not rare for us to experience depression and anxiety, to migraines and chronic pain, to indigestion, and even heart conditions caused by the stress that you would suffer in this environment. Verbal abuse is known to cause such psychological issues such as fear and anxiety, depression, alcohol or drug addiction, anger-related issues, post-traumatic stress disorder, memory disorders, and issues relating to sleeping and or eating. Are you noticing in your relationship that you're just on high, all your nerves on high? You are like, "Oh my gosh, I have to do this, I have to do that." Oh, they're coming in and they expect 2 eggs, 2 waffles, 2 sausages before 3 a.m. at this particular temperature, or they are going to go crazy on me. And in order to prevent it, I'm going to make sure I wake up at 1 in the morning to make sure everything's okay. But still, everything's not going to be okay because they're going to say something about the meal. "Oh, it's too hot. It's too cold. Oh, this wasn't cooked correctly. You couldn't cook like my mother if you tried." It's going to be something. So you're always going to be on edge. So when you go into the workplace, you have a little bit of stress from work. Your stress that would have been a 3, it's going to be a 10. And I say this from personal experience. As an adult survivor of child abuse, I'm just giving you an example. I went into work and it was just a regular stressful day. I probably would have been at a 3 normally. But because I was holding on to the abuse in that transition from getting away from that childhood abuse, I was at like a 30. I was breathing hard, very hard, just breathing very, very hard. I felt like I was going to fall out. I had migraines. I thought I was having a heart attack. I started writing down my husband's number because I'm like, oh my gosh, if I fall out, then they can call my husband to help me, to be my emergency contact. It was getting out of hand. So even after abuse, healing's definitely needed. So I go to therapy. Therapy, it will be your best friend because you get to process. You get to process what you have gone through. I'm also going to give you guys something at the end. Now, going back to the effects. In the most extreme cases, victims may even attempt or commit suicide as a way to get out the situation when they see no other means of escape. Now, if you feel this way, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or the chat line at www.thehotline.org. Now, this is why I'm so passionate about this topic. Tune in next Transparency Tuesday to find out other insidious tactics a narcissistic abuser uses. The homework that I need for you to complete is to listen to Bible verses, self-affirmations, and motivational videos in the beginning of your day and at the end of your day, because we need to encourage ourselves. We need to hear other people encouraging us as well, because verbal abuse will tear you down to nothing. You're nothing but an empty shell. You don't know who you are. You feel like I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'll never be anything, because this was instilled in you in childhood or your abusive relationship that you're currently in. That's why I'm making these videos. That's why I'm so passionate about it. You guys, we are going to heal together. We are going to grow. Period. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you're a part of my family, and that, remember, you're an expert of your experience. That is what I want you to know. Don't let anybody doubt you about telling your story, saying that, oh, it's too inappropriate, or, oh, why would you say that? I wouldn't say it on this platform. Let me tell you something. Your story can help another man or woman or young girl or young boy that's going through abuse. Period. And I totally believe in it. Your story is what God gave you to go out through the world. So keep on healing. Also, I'm going to put some videos in the comments and or in the description that are self-affirmation videos to get you pumped in the beginning and end of your day, or even if you can sneak some in, if your job allows you to sneak some in, have your headphones in and listen to them. Oh my gosh. Come back to me in a week and tell me how you feel afterwards. Tell me how you feel. I promise you there'll be a difference, because you'll have positivity in your life. And I also want you to journal. Journal all your feelings. Put them down so they're not inside and you feel like you want to burst. You know? You don't want to have all that anger or sadness. Write it down so you can work through it. Okay? So, I'm going to post videos on YouTube that'll help you for self-affirmation and motivation throughout your life, so you can get that negative programming out of your mind and believe in the beautiful person that you are. And next week, tell everybody, share this video, like it, okay? Like the page so you can be in tune. Follow me on all my social medias so you'll be the first to know when I'm going to post. Because next week, we'll be talking about the abusive tactic, manipulation. Another form of abuse that narcissists use to disable your decisions and your boundaries. Now, email me at ispeakmotivate@gmail.com to have your questions regarding this topic featured on future videos. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ispeakmotivate, and also follow my Facebook at a.gudo, the transparency teacher, for more updates. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys.